Hey everybody, Happy New Year's. This is my first video for 2025. Today we're in Glendora, California at Rubel Castle. Now I'm a little bit early. It's about 9 o'clock. I have a 10 o'clock appointment here for the tour, and we're going to go inside, check out the castle from Michael Rubel, who built this. Now this used to be a citrus packing house, and also part of the aqueduct. And he bought this back in the 1950s and started building this place. And it's a stone castle. It's really cool. So I'm not going to waste too much time on the intro because I got a lot to show. So it's at 844 North Live Oak, Glendora, California. And watch out for peacocks. Just wanted to show you the front of it before we go in. And I actually just watched the HUEL episode last night. HUEL used to come to this place quite a bit. Built by Michael Clark Rubel and hundreds of volunteers, 1968 to 1986, from local river rock and salvage materials. This property is on the National Register of Historic Places. And if you guys want to come on down, rubeltours.org. It was really easy. I just inquired. They reached out, said, "You gonna be here?" $20 donation per person. And it's about 2 hours. Growing up in Southern California, I don't know much about Glendora. I know it's between Pasadena and San Dimas. It's really close to those areas, but here's the outside of this place. So if you live in this neighborhood, this is what you have as a neighbor. It's really cool looking. And so this was hand laid. They said, and inside is like just stuff used, whether it be wood from the surrounding area or if it was telephone poles with cement just to hold this thing in place. And this has outlasted many earthquakes with little to no damage.
Well, HOWSER, that's how you built the gate in 1970, and we had to kind of refurbish it. Was pretty much born to be a mechanic, I think.
So they got horses and stuff when you first walk in. And so what he was saying is these trucks and stuff, they were left by the ranchers. So Michael, when he was 9, all the way to 13, they would take these and they would fix them up and just drive them around through the fields. And he had a pretty good collection by the time he was 13 years old of these old cars that were just left behind. This is an old insecticide. He was saying that they would use DDT or like nicotine based. We're gonna go up through the caboose here too that's left. Excuse me. You're seeing when they brought this train through Glendora that it was so tall that they had to use forks to like lift the electrical wires.
Danger coming, limbs and things like that.
Wow. They got the gate open. All right, let's go up through this.
We're going to work on rewiring.
Through the railroad.
You hear a real train bell.
Port for Robbie.
Everything
Oh.
used to work like
All right, here we go into the old caboose. Oh wow. Telephone to the front. Yes, it is. The necessary room. I want to be a train engineer when I grow up. For trainmen only.
So what's the chair for?
So they can see out. So these guys would be back here. Yeah. Yeah.
So tiny.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah. It's necessity only. Got a chair here.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Think about this going across country in this thing. Fun, huh? Especially if you get in an argument with the person you're with back here. You go sit back here, just listen to the track in the open air. The New York, New Haven, and Hartford Railroad. I like it. You even got a bathtub. I haven't seen it with a Santa Fe bathtub. That's cool. All these, there's a watering over there. They got the water right here. Careful. So our guide today is Michael's nephew. He actually did a video with HOWSER too.
So the caboose was one of the last things that Michael ever added to this piece of property. One of the first things we built when we realized we were going to be living here permanently was that windmill.
So he was just saying that this water tank they had to take apart, and it was about a mile away from here, and they brought it back here. And they put it back together, put all the boards in, and it still holds water. And this is the electric windmill from Lompoc.
So right now it's not pumping water, but it used to pump out of a water tunnel.
Wow. They used to pump out of a water tunnel. All those old cars over here too. I think we're going to go back through here a little bit later. So this is all old citrus groves. The guy that owned this before Michael even came in here was an heir to the Singer sewing machine company. Came out here a millionaire, and then they left and left it to the church. And this was the area that can be developed. So we're going to go through the memorial here. And he was just telling us that Michael's ashes are in this yard.
Yeah, everybody come on down in here. This yard is kind of started with some silliness on our part. You know, we were a bunch of kids, and in 1969, when we were beginning to build the castle, everything was done with salvage materials. We were picking things up. There was so much construction going on. They were tearing out all the groves and putting in tract houses, and telephone poles were lining the streets, and we'd put chains on them and drag them home.
Michael's ashes are here.
Anything home that was being demolished. And
rest in peace, Michael.
The cemetery started from donations from a monument. A bunch of stones came out with names on them, and Michael panicked. You know, he was so worried. He called the company, the owner, and said, "I have names on these stones." And the owner said, "Oh, those are all typographical errors. You can stick them in your walls." And the castle is full of these stones. They really took up a lot of space, but us kids, of course, had to make a little memorial yard. We took about 30 stones and planted a lawn and put a picket fence around it. And that all got ruined pretty quickly by the chickens and peacocks, but it was fun to have a graveyard. And then we discovered that we could
stones
make
are
our own.
typos.
We were getting all these nice slabs that had shiny surfaces, so we bought our own stencil kit and started cutting our own stencils. So now most of this yard is people we knew. They're relatives and castle builders.
Cool.
Yeah. So there's still maybe a third of it is the typographical errors.
Yes, before we came here for the one time, he was saying this place was just on the news. So a lot of these people are from the news, but yeah, there's about 50 people. We're a group of about 25, so just a heads up. $20 cash. So you were saying this was their swimming pool, and they used to have a deck around here. And the one cool thing he was saying, like, there's some sort of fish in there too. And he said that it makes some sort of like crazy noise. It's all murky water, but he said if you get up there on the top, something comes up to the top, and he doesn't know what it is, but he said it's pretty big.
The car you can see from here is a 1929 Studebaker. And that was given to Michael when he was 16 by his grandfather.
Cool.
So, yeah. So, like, great-grandfather was the original owner of this. And it's still running. We put it in the
Coops over here. This was Michael's Studebaker that he got. And yeah, it's the bulletproof Mercedes that he bought. 1929 Studebaker. Original price $13.75. Oh, that's cool. And then over here is the bulletproof Mercedes that he bought. And Charles de Gaulle was in this. 4,800, 12,000 miles. Purchased from San Francisco. And they had a car, or had a telephone in it, huh?
You are welcome to open the door, especially on the Mercedes.
Oh, cool. Oh my gosh. Try to open that.
There.
Oh, geez.
Oh, wow.
That is cool. That is cool.
He was saying that Michael
would pick up that, yeah, at stoplights.
He's like Yeah, talking to someone.
That is awesome. I think it'd be so cool to get running. Excuse me. Got a little tiki guy here. Oh, so this is part of the citrus area here. So that's where the orange crates were made up there.
It's a big empty steel building with a few light bulbs in it. You know, it had a whole bunch of wood, you know, for making orange crates, and they had a little hand-operated printing press. You know, like just for labeling. Done all with the salvaged wood. So
He was saying this was Michael's first place where he lived, and then his buddy came, and he charged him $15 a month.
Yeah, and it has the sunken lights, and he insulated it, put 3-inch thick lumber paneling the entire thing on the inside. It has a sunken bathtub. You can even see the bottom of it from the garage.
That's awesome. So he was saying his buddy, when he moved in here at 19, his buddy said he wanted to move in with him.
Some of these kids left them when, you know, joyriding them through the orange groves. You see they don't even have cabs left on them. They used to just ram them into trees and wreck them and speed. When Michael was 13 years old is when his mother decided to take responsibility. She said, "I better give you a driving test. You keep driving away and walking home."
So we had these tanks here, and they were saying that Michael would fill them up underneath the ground. He had these huge tanks, and he would fill up, almost like what Southwest Airlines did back in the day. They would fill that up when gas was at its lowest. And he never paid anybody, but then gas would get up to 75 cents. And he'd feed everybody that would help on the gas hole. And then he would also fill up their cars for free here. So he'd fill them up, feed them, and these people that had no money to go out for the weekends swing on by, and Michael would be servicing their car and getting them some gasoline.
My father is his brother.
Like that side.
No, yeah, well, my father was older. He was already.
Side here is the bird bath engine.
So it's really easy to plug a tunnel in there and stuff like that. Feed into the sewer.
And then next to it is the packing house, and that's where we're going to go in next. The old citrus packing house. So all this was here when Michael did come. Look at the roots on these trees. Massive.
We blew the water out of the toilet in the house next door. And everybody,
Into the packing house.
There was from the mountains up here, Alton Canyon, and then this engine right here came from Laverne down over there, Baseline Road.
Oh wow!
The engine came from Laverne, Andrew.
That's where the trucks would back up to here and unload and wheel all the crates over into the refrigerators, and they get gassed in there and cooled down and stored for market. And this is what we turned into all our bedrooms. So the whole family was living in refrigerators when we moved in here.
The old trains.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to play with.
But she was fancy
So
all her
much would
life.
love this thing.
That one picture there with the feathers on. That's one of the last pictures taken of her in 1976. Here was my uncle's room. So if you look in there, if you poke your head in and look to the right, you'll see a bunch of Pancha Villa stuff. There's a bunch of bayonets and a wanted poster and stuff that Otto Stadi gave Michael when Michael was 15 years old. So Otto basically gave Michael all his Pancha Villa treasures that he kind of pilfered from the army when he left.
Solid doors.
We even have a saddle in one of the rooms that's from Pancha Villa's army.
No way. It's cool.
So this is how he lived in these cold rooms, and the mechanics still worked in the early 70s. So we could come in here, we'd be spending a whole summer's day building the castle out there, and by 4 o'clock we couldn't stand it anymore. We'd shut down the cement mixer and come into this room and chill out.
Yeah.
Michael would keep this about 60 degrees inside, and it was perfect.
Now, were some of these your grandmother?
Yes, yeah. And we had another celebrity who was my grandmother's best friend, Sally Rand. That's one of her trunks. Sally Rand was, yeah, she was a silent film star. We have a little station over there dedicated to her too.
Look at this fireplace.
We had a family friend who had worked for him in the 1940s. She was his cook.
So they have an elevator over here too, and they were saying that President Eisenhower got stuck in it.
And he wasn't president anymore in 1963, so he could do what he wanted. So she got access
That canoe's
to him
awesome.
after the parade and said, "Come up and meet my friend Dorothy." So that she brought President Eisenhower up there to meet my grandmother. And they all had tea up in the.
This is his room of his collectibles.
There was no castle to see yet. It was just this room basically, and all the rusting farm equipment outside. He had a wonderful.
This is the place where he didn't know where to put anything from his travels. He was in the Marine Corps or the Army. I forget which one, but they're just from all his travels.
He just stood on the elevator, so Michael pushed the down button, and the fuse blew.
They were saying this is where they would send the citrus down below the floor. And while Eisenhower was visiting, he got stuck in there. There's the little plaque right
A
there.
volunteer who runs the gift shop. She comes up here from her store every tour and operates.
That's funny.
She has a store down on Glendora Avenue called Kathy's Wishing Well, which is an excellent.
The reindeer up there.
And,
This is all the packing house, so this is where his mom would have all the parties. But yeah, President Eisenhower stuck in the floor right there. Only his head was popping out, he was saying. So this is the area with the gift shop where we can kind of like hang out right now. They were saying just take a load off. Cork lamp here. Got the little guy over here.
they had one of these in that movie. I don't know.
So if you guys want to see real quick, take pictures and share. There's a QR code. This thing's kind of interesting.
Michael was kind of famous for his travels from the 1950s.
I remember Huel went crazy over this thing with all the handmade canoes.
Mr. Knott thought that maybe his name could get connected to Michael's antics by donating those burros.
Here's the old Rubel Farms. This place is really, really something. I highly recommend it.
Did the other tour come through here yet? Okay, we're probably not far behind.
I still think this is funny. President Eisenhower was stuck in that. I think that's great. We're gonna head out now. I think we finished with that. We're gonna head. We're almost to the castle part. Leaving the Medfly quarantine area. No fruits, vegetables.
They're still working in holy water.
Got the old barber chair, the banjo.
Yeah, Michael couldn't have worked anything back in the flight path. Oh yeah. Oh yes. So we got all this stuff is salvaged, of course. The stove came from a little tiny restaurant that was down on Route 66. Michael was always monitoring all these things. We took all the boards off, and our whole kitchen came out of there. The stove fed all the castle builders since the early 60s.
Got another little one right
And,
there.
a lot of these pots and pans came from that restaurant too. Yeah.
So he's saying a lot of those stuff and the filling this all in came from Route 66.
And this is a 1901 on-demand water heater, which we used. The Historical Society didn't want to deal with it, so they put a modern one in. So this is no longer working. But we use this all my life. It's,
The other thing I'm going to do
just
now
turn off.
is there's so much stuff outside. I think I'm going to do two. I'm going to split this video into two. I'm going to do one, that's the whole outside. And then number two is going to be just the inside of the castle, which I think is a good idea. So there's going to be two parts, just in case you're interested.